Before I start this video, if you've not subscribed to my channel, I appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, please click the like button, share this out through social media, and leave comments in the comments section. Today I'm going to be reviewing episode 5 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, entitled In the Name of the Mother. It picks up exactly where episode 4 left off. Prince Baelor is giving instructions to Sir Duncan's champions about how to survive the trial of 7. But one thing that's covered in the books and omitted in the television show is the fact that Prince Baelor specifically picks longer lances. He knows what type of lances the King's Guard are going to choose, and they're going to be metal-tipped lances. Prince Baelor selects the pure wooden lances, which are about 4 feet longer, which means his champions, or actually Sir Duncan's champions, lances will strike first, giving them an advantage in the first charge. Sir Beesbury actually asks what are they going to do about the King's Guard, and Prince Baelor replies that he will take care of them since they are sworn not to harm a prince of the realm. I would have liked to seen that actually happen in the episode. I'm kind of curious how Prince Baelor planned to keep 3 King's Guardsmen at bay when he's alone. But we don't get to see that. Sir Riesling actually asks if that's an honorable thing to do, and Prince Baelor replies, "The gods will let us know." Sir Lionel also notes that Prince Baelor was loved by his mother, and that it's too bad since no man fights better than one neglected by his mother. Prince Baelor's last words before they charge are, "Be vigilant and don't die." There's some famous last words. Sir Duncan tells Aegon to wait here and not to steal his stuff, or he will hunt him down, which is a callback to episode 2. And Sir Duncan then lines up with the rest of his champions. A septum gives some sort of blessing for the trial of 7, basically asking that the gods reveal who was right and who was wrong. Horns blow and everyone charges except for Sir Duncan, who hesitates and then charges at Aerion, and Aerion actually catches Sir Duncan in the gut with his lance. Sir Duncan removes the piece of lance that broke off, but in reality that probably would have been a very bad move and would have probably killed Sir Duncan, considering the placement of the wound and how it would probably bleed him out in short order. After Sir Duncan is dismounted, Aerion also hits him in the head with his flail, and that temporarily knocks out Sir Duncan. At this point, we get a very unnecessary flashback to the last battle of the first Blackfire Rebellion, where a young Duncan is looting a not-so-dead knight and decides to try and show him mercy by suffocating him, until his girl Rafe shows up and tells him we could probably get a ransom for the knight. However, they cannot get him out from under his dead horse, and eventually the night expires. They basically loot what they can from the corpse and the horse, and they head back to Flea Bottom, running into a guard named Alistair. And Alistair is basically a typical guard for Flea Bottom. He's no more than a brigand himself. Alistair tries to shake them down, see what they have in their pouches. However, he gets distracted by some drunks, and Rafe manages to steal his ale flask. And after they're away from Alistair, Duncan and her get into a fight about stealing the ale flask, and Rafe says, I basically did him a favor because the ale tastes like garbage. She dumps the rest of the ale out. And then they visit a fence who gives them a couple of coin for what they had scavenged off the battlefield, except the fence wants nothing to do with the Blackfire leather since it is from the losing side. I guess he feels like that if he has it, he'll be associated with the losing side in the rebellion. They go back to their hideout, and now they have enough money to buy passage to the free cities of Essos. And there's a bit of a discussion about leaving. It seems Duncan's hesitant. He's worried about his mother coming back from the dead for some reason. I'm not sure how that works, except, Duncan's not the sharpest sword in the armory. But they end up professing their love for each other, and Rafe says, well, I'm leaving tomorrow, and I expect you to come with me. They get up the following morning, and they go to the shipmaster, who informs them that the price is now doubled, and they are thrown out of his office. Rafe temporarily berates Duncan for the bad luck and then apologizes, at which point they are confronted by Alistair and another man. Alistair basically takes everything that Rafe and Duncan have on them, but as Rafe is going away from Alistair, she manages to take his dagger. After a moment, Alistair realizes that Rafe has taken the dagger. He comes up from behind, grabs her, takes the dagger, and slits her throat. Duncan then jumps Alistair. I believe he bites him in the neck or maybe on the ear. Alistair throws him off, and the other man that's with Alistair stabs Duncan in the leg. And it looks like Alistair's about to kill him when a drunk Sir Arlen comes out of a bar, tells him to leave the boy alone, vomits, and then kills both men. They have a beautiful decapitation in this scene as well. It's probably the only good thing about this whole flashback. It's kind of annoying, and I really wish they had shown more of the combat, especially the stuff that wasn't directed specifically at Sir Duncan and Arian. Sir Arlen at that point leaves after he's killed both the rogues, and Duncan says goodbye to Rafe. He goes back to their hideout until he hears Sir Arlen, and then he hobbles after him for several days. He actually enters his camp at one point and checks out the sword, checks out the horses, I believe even grabs his helm. And this thing goes on for days, and Arlen is constantly saying things in Dothraki, which is not translated, and you really don't know what he's saying. And this goes on during the day, when he's drunk at night. And finally, Sir Arlen wakes up one morning as he sees Duncan a ways away from him. Duncan actually collapses, probably because he's fatigued. He also hasn't eaten in days, and he tried to drink some bad water, so he got sick from that. Sir Arlen comes over, hands him a flask, and tells him to get up. This brings us back to the present, and Sir Duncan wakes back up, only to get knocked down a couple of times by Prince Arian's flail. And I believe at one point he is on top of Arian, and Prince Maker comes by and hits him with his mace from on top of his horse. Duncan and Arian are both on the ground, and from their knees, Duncan is stabbed repeatedly by Arian's dagger, and it finally goes through Duncan's hand. Duncan removes the dagger and tries to retrieve his sword, and he gets hit a couple more times, and specifically there's a blow to his left eye, and also he's stabbed through the back by Arian. As the combat continues, Prince Arian receives a grievous wound to the inside of his right thigh. I thought that he might have been turned into a eunuch at that point, but regardless, that probably would have cut the femoral artery and killed Arian. So we've got some problems here about the wounds both these combatants are receiving. They are a lot more grievous than what we're being led to believe. Prince Maker, seeing his son in trouble, tries to intervene, but are grabbed by two knights and restrained. In the end, both men end up on the ground, and Prince Arian is asking for Sir Duncan to yield. That seems pretty illogical to me, since if Duncan yields, he's basically dead. Sir Duncan collapses again. Prince Arian claims that Sir Duncan is dead, and Lord Ashford is about to ask for the horn to be blown. But Sir Duncan gets up again, and at this point it turns into a fist fight, which Prince Arian is completely outclassed, even though Duncan is much more wounded. He's in worse shape, but he's still much physically. He's basically able to enforce his physical will on Prince Arian. And Prince Arian basically says he yields. And Sir Duncan unceremoniously drags Arian by his foot in front of Lord Ashford and tells Arian to say it. Arian basically says that he renounces his claim, and the horn sounds and the trial is over. At that point, Sir Duncan almost collapses again, or maybe he does collapse, and it's Raymond and Steely Pate who pick up Sir Duncan and take him someplace where they start treating him. The wound from the lances actually pushed some of the chainmail into his gut. That's a very bad wound. Steely Pate says, well, we need to get him drunk, and then we need to pour boiling oil into the wound to stop it from bleeding. Fortunately, Prince Baelor arrives and tells him that it needs to be boiling wine. Boiling oil will kill him. And I had to rewind that because I couldn't believe Steely Pate had said that. Oh, we'll just use boiling oil. No, that's a bad idea. Prince Baelor tells Sir Duncan that he will send Maester Yarmwell once he's done tending to Prince Maker. Sir Duncan goes over to Prince Baelor and kneels before him, swearing allegiance to him. Prince Baelor accepts this service. He says, I'm in need of good men, and so is the realm. At that point, Prince Baelor saying his hands feel wooden, and he asks for help getting his helm off. And it is Sir Raymond and Steely Pate who eventually get the helmet off, and it is revealed that Prince Baelor's skull has been crushed in the back, most likely by Prince Maker's mace, and Baelor collapses. He dies in Duncan's arms, with Duncan apologizing, saying he's sorry, I think, for getting Prince Baelor into this mess in the first place. And this is the prophecy that Daeron was seeing. Obviously, Prince Baelor represents the huge black dragon. He falls into Sir Duncan's arms. That's the falling part. And obviously, the dragon dies, and Sir Duncan is going to survive this. A few other things I had problems with. Like I said, the first thing is I don't think we really needed the flashback. I would have preferred to see more of the battle that wasn't including Daeron and Sir Duncan. I would have liked to seen how Prince Baelor handled the King's Guard. I also would have liked to seen something more than a flash of what happened to Sir Breedsbury and Sir Rising, not Rising, Sir Harding, because both of them died in this, and they supposedly died in the first charge. Like I said, I would have liked to seen more of this. I would have liked to seen how Sir Raymond didn't die, because I would have bet anything Sir Raymond, he's the least experienced out of everyone. He's just been knighted, and somehow he survived this, and 3 knights, much more experienced, much more skilled than him, were all killed. Now, in Harding's case, I got to blame it partially on the broken leg. I mean, if he got dismounted during this fight, he's dead, because he can't walk. He couldn't even get himself back up. He's a sitting duck. So that's one thing. I would have liked to seen more combat and just forget about this flashback. I would have liked to have had 35 minutes of a fight. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit difficult to stretch out, but I would have really loved to have seen that. The other thing is that Sir Duncan should have shared with his champions that you can basically ignore Daeron because he has no stomach for this fight. They could have concentrated on Arian, had a couple of knights go at him, because as you could see, the only 2 ways to end this trial is for the accuser to withdraw their claim, or for one side to be completely dead. Next thing is Steely Pate must be one hell of an armorer, because Sir Duncan's helm took a ton of punishment, and yeah, it was a little bit beat up, but his head wasn't caved in at all, and he took several shots from the flail. He took at least 1 shot from Prince Maker's mace, and it held up, while apparently Prince Baelor's helm couldn't even protect him from 1 mace shot from his brother. So that's kind of really weird. You would figure Prince Baelor Targaryen would have much better armor than what Steely Pate could create, but apparently not. Overall, I did enjoy the episode, but I think my favorite episode is still episode 4. I said before I thought that was pretty much a flawless episode. This one's got some minor flaws in it. I'm nitpicking maybe a little bit, but I do have some issues with this episode. I still think it's great. I don't like to give numbers, rating it out of 10 or anything like that. I still think it's a very good episode. The parts of combat that we did get were really well choreographed. Maybe Sir Duncan could have taken a little less punishment, and maybe some of those grievous wounds could have been a little less grievous, just to help suspend disbelief. But yeah, I'm still really enjoying this season. I'm sad that there's only one episode left, and I think I'm going to wrap it up here. So, like my father told me when I was 18 years old, get out.